Susan, our playwright, had continually communicated about how this play is about Hawaii, like local people in Hawaii and like local aspect of daily lives in Hawaii. So we talked a lot about how we want to really embrace that localness and really be in there to create a genuine story together.
Susan, as you mentioned, was very intent on making this about her Hawaii, her experience of Hawaii and the real people of Hawaii. And your research helped immensely in trying to find, I kept speaking about zip codes. Within the island, there's many little hamlets and enclaves and socioeconomic levels and what that means, and everything's hot. Is it cold inside of an office there so much that you would wear a cardigan? Like we, get blasted out here when things are too cold and over air conditioned, but air conditioning isn't common in homes, and people don't wear shoes potentially in some backgrounds and different things. So all that little minutia was incredibly helpful for, I think, all of us involved.
The playwright at one point also expressed a sense that this play was meant to be a love letter to Hawaii. And for them, that really, really had to do with the music and the sense of landing on the island, getting into a car and hearing the sound of island radio and knowing exactly where you are. So for me and for the rest of the sort of sound design team that worked on this piece, we sort of begun by working a lot with dramaturgy to get a sense of what that actually sounds like, what that actually feels like.
There are 52 scenes. Typically, we want to spend a lot of time to develop the characters, to understand each characters. But with 52 scenes, with Emily interacting with 20 more folks throughout the play, it's really hard to develop a relationship for Emily with anybody else. But because the scenes are so short, and there are just so many, it was always a challenge. There's so many scenes, so many pages we need to cover, but at the same time to make sure all the actors' needs are met. Do they need more time to understand their characters?
This play was originally intended to be a radio play. So we know that we have 23 characters in the play, but they're all played by 6 actors. So the amount of quick changes that needed to happen, the amount of days that we go through and how we need to clock how many days we're seeing, and how are we representing that? Are we representing that with sound, with lights, with costumes? So really, it was dramaturgically kind of a different gig for Jisun, I imagine, because we spent a large majority, at least I did, of the design process kind of trying to figure out how many things do we have to show in order to tell the story that we need to tell.
Bridget Lindsley, the set designer, ultimately did a lot of that hard work figuring out how everything was. How many locations? At least 30. So many locations that could all work together in this space and ultimately give us a nowhere and a home all in one. We had a 12-foot turntable in the center of the stage that was mostly used for Emily's home, transitioned around different views of her home. And then the other big moment that they really wanted to convey were these giant shutter walls that set opened and closed and set different moods, gave view to behind these shutter walls for small vignettes back there. There were revolving doors. We had a giant back wall that flew in and out for a few different scenes. So we tried to make the set as flexible as possible.
One of the delights of this piece was it includes a portrayal of the ukulele legend Bill Tapia, who had recently passed away, and that's sort of part of the events of this piece is sort of them contending with that. We sort of see one of our amazing performers, Francis Zhu, who personifies Bill Tapia within the piece. And brought himself to learn the ukulele, and we sort of worked together to compose a bit for him to learn and to play live on stage.
Until then, sweetheart, aloha.
Susan, our playwright, came in and she was seeing that scene, and I kind of crept up behind her and said, "What do you think? Did we do okay?" And she said, "It's perfect. It makes me want to cry."
But I think what's like really like core at this experience for me was that it really reminds me of that the theater is about community and about like true collaboration. I really haven't had like a lot of chances to work on like Asian or Asian American artists at the school and in the States in general. And I have not built that community here either. So it was like really fantastic opportunity for me to meet those artists outside the school who've been, working in this industry for decades and like really like having like established careers. So it was like so good to see those role models and get to know the community. I'm like still talking to like many of them, and I think that connection was so special, and that's really not something you can get in the classroom. So I'm like really grateful for this opportunity.